I know better than most people that when you're playing Warzone, you're not always going to have someone to play with, and that is why in this video we're going to be going over the 5 best loadouts to use for solo players, whether it's Caldera or Rebirth. This video's got something for both of you players. Now, if you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there. But like I said, this video is going to be going over the 5 best loadouts for solo players. And this means that we're going to be adjusting the loadout slightly just to match that solo playstyle. When it comes to number 5, we do have a sniper rifle SMG combo. These are very popular when it comes to solos. Now, it's mainly the sniper rifles that are popular, and then obviously you want a sniper support weapon to go with that. And the reason why snipers are so popular is because it allows you to stay away from any tricky gunfights where you're sitting there shooting for long periods of time. If you land a single headshot, you're going to get some really quick, easy downs. Especially with the extra health now, a lot of the gunfights take a little bit longer, so getting a single headshot is going to be really, really handy. So that is why snipers are very popular. I do think the Swiss is still one of the best snipers in the game. Perks and the lethal and tacticals are very important still. So when it comes to the heartbeat sensor, I still think it's solid. Even though people that move around can still be ghosted, it's the players that are not moving are the ones that are going to cause you more trouble, because you'll be able to hear the players that are moving around before you enter a building. But the ones that are camping in corners are the ones you need to look out for. So that's why I still think the heartbeat sensor is solid. Semtex is always really handy. You can use whatever you want for a lethal. Then when it comes to perks, EOD is just going to allow you to take reduced damage from explosive. So if someone's spamming you, you don't want to die instantly from explosive, especially RPGs right now. Overkill is going to allow you to have that second primary weapon, and Amped is going to allow you to switch quicker to your sniper rifle and get those shots off way quicker. So when it comes to the well gun, we're using pretty much what I believe to be is the kind of second meta build for this gun. And the main reason for that is the 40 round mags is probably not the meta mags, but is more than enough for solo gameplay. Now, if you are playing quads or anything higher, the 64 rounds is a solid option. You're going to get a slightly faster TTK. On top of that, you're getting a way bigger magazine, but you're also conning your ADS as well. So just keep that in mind when using the 64 rounds, but 40 rounds is more than enough, and you get a faster fire rate, so it's going to be a bit more forgiving. Overall, the rest of the build stays the same, so recoil booster, shrouded barrel, skeletal under barrel for the faster ADS, fabric grip's the best for SMGs, lengthened is pretty much needed for every single gun now, fleet for faster movement and weapon swap quickness, which it doesn't really help with all that much, but you can also use gung-ho as well. Perk 2 is quick as always, remove stock for the faster movement, and iron sights for faster ADS. When it comes to the Swiss, it's pretty much the standard meta build we all know. GRU suppressor, combat recon, 5mm laser, bruiser grip, airborne elastic, because it does help with flinch resistance now, so that's important to keep in mind. It will help when you're getting shot at. It's still not amazing in my opinion, but it's definitely worth using if it's going to help out a little bit. You can swap out the bruiser grip for a bigger mag. It won't hurt your ADS, so that is a bonus there as well. At number 4, we have another really solid loadout. Now, this is going to be the Vargo with the AMP or the Dynamite pistol, whatever is your favorite secondary there. Both of those are definitely the best 2 options. And we'll get into the build in just a second, but in terms of perks, and this is the main reason why we've made a loadout like this, is that you want to take Ghost. Now, Ghost is very handy, especially in solos, especially if you're an aggressive player, you're moving around a lot. It keeps you off the minimap if people are spamming UAVs, and it still works really well, even though it did get a nerf. So now, if you're a player that likes to camp a bit more, Ghost is not really going to work for you. It's mainly for aggressive players now, which is very handy to know. Semtex and stims are now important, because if you're trying to get in and out of gunfights, stims are going to allow you to escape gunfights, get your health back up to full, and give you a movement speed boost on top of that. So stims are overall just very, very good, and I love using stims all the time. When it comes to perks, EOD, Ghost, Combat Scout, the AMP build that we use is right here. So Sound Suppressor, Task Force Barrel, Tiger Team Spotlight, Salvo, 30 round fast mags, and Serpent Wrap. The Dynamite build would be very similar to this. The only thing I would recommend is the Agency Suppressor instead, and it'll control the recoil a little bit more. You want to use the biggest mags on those as well. Then when it comes to the Vargo assault rifle, I do think overall it's just a very easy to use gun at all ranges. So even though you build it like an assault rifle for the most part, and obviously your Dynamite and your AMP is going to be your SMG replacement, this gun is still super solid. So it's super low recoil, so you will land your shots at any range. On top of that, it's got a pretty decent TTK. Even if you're hitting multiple shot locations, it's still going to give you a very consistent TTK. So overall, a very good gun right now. So GRU suppressor, task force barrel, axial 3 times, 45 round mags is more than enough for solos, and then Spetsnaz grip. At number 3, and probably what's going to be my most recommended loadout for this entire video, and even though it's at number 3, it's probably the one I think most people will try out, is the XM4 with the own gun and these perks right here. So first of all, quick fix is a super powerful perk now. It's going to allow you to regen your health straight away whilst you're putting on armor plates, and I think that's extremely important in any kind of game mode. Now, it's probably more powerful inside game modes like quads or trios or even duos, for example, because it gives your health back to full, but it's still going to be pretty handy inside solos as well. Especially if you're getting third party, that is where quick fix will be really important. Now, Overkill, of course, Combat Scout, of course, is basically broken at the moment. And Stims, once again, to get out of those gunfights, because both of these are very aggressive weapons. But when it comes to the Owen gun, I do think, in my opinion, it's my favourite SMG in the game right now. I think it's one of the most powerful SMGs on top of that. Now, the only adjustment we made to the meta build here was changing the 72 round mags to the 33 round mags. For obvious reasons, you're only taking on one gunfight at a time. So overall, it's going to still give you the same benefits of the 72 round Grenco mags, but you're going to get a faster ADS time and faster movement speed. So just overall, it's going to be handy, and you don't really need that huge mag. Plus, it doesn't block up all of your screen as well. So if you're trying to be as precise as possible, the 33 round mag should be more than enough. The rest of the build stays the same. So recoil booster, rapid barrel, any optic you like, the remove stock, fleet, quick, fabric grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire, lengthened as always, and the Carver foregrip. You can also use the skeletal, but you don't really need the skeletal because we're using the 33 round mags here. But overall, definitely a solid SMG. You could pretty much win 90% of your gunfights for this. Then when it comes to the XM4, the only thing we changed from the meta build of the long range XM4 is the 45 round mags instead of the 60 round mags. And again, the same reason applies, is because you're only going to be taking one gunfight at a time, so you will have time to reload between each encounter you have. The rest of the build stays the same: agency suppressor, task force, field agent, axial 3 times. Number 2 is probably our most powerful loadout yet, but on top of that, it's going to involve the most amount of skill. You need to be able to manage your movement, manage your engagement ranges, also manage recoil as well. I think that's really important to note. And overall, it's just going to be really kind of like a skillful loadout that you need to use here. So if you do want to try something that's going to challenge you a little bit, but you will delete through enemies, probably the quickest out of any loadout in this video pretty much, then this is going to be the loadout for you. So we're using the EM2, which is one of the fastest killing assault rifles in the game. We're also using the JAK-12, which is one of the fastest killing close range weapons in the game. And the perks and the lethal and tactical are geared towards this as well. So starting off with the stims, you want to be sliding into your gunfights with that stim active, and that way you can slide aggressively, challenge someone with a shotgun, get some easy kills. Also, it allows you to escape gunfights as well. Throw knife's going to allow you to get those finishes where you run out of ammo on your shotgun. You don't want to sit there spamming shotgun bullets at someone. You want to quickly get that throwing knife kill, pick your knife up, and move on to the next fight. Quick fix is going to allow you to fill in your armor plates and get that health regen faster after you've gotten a gunfight. Overkill allows you to have both weapons. Amped is important to switch weapons, especially because shotgun switching is quite slow. When it comes to the JAK-12, it's actually one of the fastest killing close range guns in the entire game, and for that reason, I do think it's still a solid option. So you do want to use the Marauder muzzle. It's going to give you the best damage range as well as a tighter pellet spread, so you can land all your shots. The Torrent barrel is going to do the exact same thing, so combining these together is going to make this gun super powerful when it comes to damage range. 5mm laser is going to give you better hipfire accuracy, which is important on a shotgun. We're using the rubberized grip, which is going to help with recoil control, but it also helps with hipfire accuracy at the same time, so it's super important to use this one. You can also use stipple grip if you find that you're going to be aiming down sight, or that you need the better sprint to fire speeds, which could also be really handy as well, especially when hip firing. So stipple grip could be a solid option as well. And in sleight of hand, we don't really need the bigger mags. It is only solos we're playing. If we're playing a different game mode, 20 rounds could be a solid option, but we don't want to slow down the gun too much, especially inside solos. And then when it comes to the EM2, is a standard meta build, but the only couple of things have changed here is we're using the Microflex LED optic instead of the axial 3 times, and that's because we need to use the EM2 in medium range as well, because we've got a shotgun as our secondary and not an SMG. so it's important to be able to use the EM2 in that mid-range, and then also the 40 round mags, because again, we don't need the big mags, but we could benefit from the faster ADS time. The rest of the build stays the same. At number 1, we have my favorite solo loadout to use, and that is the SPR with the MP40 and these perks right here. So EOD is going to keep us alive, especially when taking damage to explosives. Overkill and amped are self-explanatory because we're switching to that sniper rifle so we can get the snipes off quickly, like I mentioned before. Semtex is because I just like Semtex. You could choose whatever you want. You could even choose a throwing knife, but I just think Semtex is the best lethal at the moment. And I think snapshot grenades are extremely underrated inside Warzone, especially inside solos. Not a lot of people like to run cold-blooded in general, so most people will be running EOD, maybe quick fix now, or double time, but not a lot of people still run cold-blooded for some reason, and that is why snapshot grenades are going to be extremely powerful. So people will still be running ghost, but they'll still show up on a snapshot grenade. So I do think overall, when it comes to campers, this is the best way to deal with them. Now, when it comes to the secondary weapon, the MP40 is just a solid sniper support option. It's low recoil, it's got good TTKs, and the mixed shot location TTK on this gun is really good as well. The build hasn't changed at all, so recoil booster, crossneck barrel, skeletal underbarrel, or whatever one you prefer. 45 round mags is still the best mags in my opinion. Lengthened, fabric grip, the steady perks for faster movement speeds, quick for better sprinting speeds, remove stock to get the better movement speeds and hip fire accuracy, and then the iron sights. Overall, definitely one of the best SMGs in the game still. I do think it's a solid option. I don't really tend to lose gunfights when I'm using the MP40. Then we're pairing it with the Swiss, which is my personal favourite sniper rifle in the game at the moment. It has the least amount of bullet drop out of all the aggressive snipers. It does a ton of damage out of all the aggressive snipers. It's got one of the best bullet velocities out of all the aggressive snipers, and the ADS is actually pretty good as well. So this is the build you definitely want to be using. So mono suppressor, 26-inch barrel, tac laser, solo zero optic, and the normal mags. But overall, I just think the Swiss is probably the best sniper rifle in the game right now at all, hands down. It's got pretty good flinch resistance as well on top of that, which is probably one of the best in the game. So overall, one of the best sniper rifles to use in my opinion. So there we have it. Those are the 5 best solo loadouts to use inside Warzone at the moment. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach that goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.